This week our PowerPoint is going to focus on relaxers out of Chapter 20 Chemical Texture Services. Upon completion of this week's lesson, you will be able to describe how thio-relaxers straighten the hair, describe how hydroxide relaxers straighten the hair, demonstrate safe and effective hydroxide relaxing techniques, and describe curl reforming and how it restructures the hair. Why should we study chemical texture services? Chemical texture services allow you, the stylist, the opportunity to offer clients with options to change the texture of their hair and explore the fashionable world of hairstyling. Knowing how to perform these services accurately, safely, and professionally will help build a trusting and loyal clientele while aiding in building your confidence to offer chemical texture services to all of your clients. Chemical services are among the most lucrative and repetitive services in the salon, and many retail products are specific to hair's texture and condition. Without a thorough understanding of chemistry, cosmetologists could damage the hair, cause hair loss, and harm the clients and themselves. Remember that chemical texture services are hair services that cause a chemical change that alters the natural wave pattern of the hair. This week we'll focus on relaxing, which is removing curl or waves from the hair, leaving the hair smooth or straight. We'll also talk about curl reforming, which is a service that loosens over curly hair and changes tightly curly or curled hair into loose curls or waves. This is a double processed service. Chemical hair relaxing is the process that rearranges the structure of curly hair into straighter or smoother form, whereas permanent waving curls straight hair, your chemical relaxing straightens curly hair. Other than their objectives of being quite different, the permanent wave and relaxer services are very similar. The chemistry of relaxers and permanent waving is exactly the same. Both services change the shape of the hair by breaking disulfide bonds. The most common types of chemical hair relaxers are ammonium thio, guanidine hydroxide, and sodium hydroxide. It should be noted that thio and guanidine are usually classified as no-lye relaxers, and sodium hydroxide is considered to be a lye-based relaxer. There are varying degrees and types of curly hair. Extremely curly hair grows in long, twisted spirals or coils. Cross sections are highly elliptical and vary in shape and thickness along their lengths. Compared to straight or wavy hair, which tends to possess a fairly regular and uniform diameter along a single strand, extremely curly hair is irregular, exhibiting varying diameters along a single strand. The thinnest and weakest sections of the hair strands are located at the twists. These sections are also bent at an extremely sharp angle, and it will be stretched most during relaxing. Hair breaks at its weakest point. Extremely curly hair usually breaks at the twists because of the inherent weakness in that section and because of the extra physical force that is required to straighten it. Thio-relaxers use the same ATG that is used in permanent waving, but at a higher concentration and a higher pH. Thio-relaxers usually have a pH above 10. Thio-relaxers usually have a higher concentration of ammonium thioglycolate than used in permanent waving. It is thicker with a higher viscosity. Viscosity measures the thickness of a product and affects how the fluid flows. This is more suitable for application as a relaxer. Thio-relaxers break disulfide bonds and soften the hair. After enough bonds are broken, hair is straightened into new shape and the relaxer is rinsed from the hair. The neutralizer used in thio-relaxers is an oxidizing agent, usually hydrogen peroxide, just as in permanent waves. The oxidation reaction caused by the neutralizer rebuilds the disulfide bonds that were broken by the thio-relaxer. The application steps for a thio relaxer are the same as those for hydroxide relaxers. Although the neutralizing procedure is different, relaxers may be applied with bowl and brush or the back of a hard rubber comb. Although all thio relaxers follow the same procedures, different application methods are used for virgin relaxers and retouch relaxers. Follow the same preparation steps as a virgin hydroxide relaxer, with the possible exception of a light shampoo before a thio relaxer. Do not forget to perform an analysis of the client's hair and scalp, and test the hair for elasticity and porosity on several areas of the head. If the hair has poor elasticity, do not perform a relaxer service. Japanese thermal straightening, sometimes called thermal reconditioning or TR, combines the use of a thio relaxer with the flat iron. When it was first introduced, the straighteners were called thermal ionic reconstructors. Each manufacturer has slightly different procedures. Generally, after the hair is shampooed and conditioned, the straightener is applied to sections, distributed evenly, and processed until the desired degree of curl or frizz reduction is reached. Then the hair is rinsed thoroughly for about 10 minutes, conditioned, and blown completely dry. Next, each section is flat ironed. Several passes of the flat iron are required for each section. The added heat and mechanical pressing help make these formulas more effective than standard thio relaxers. The hair is then neutralized and blow dried. The service can take several hours and is not always appropriate for extremely curly hair or more color-treated hair. Thermal reconditioning is considered a specialty, and many manufacturers require certification in their particular procedure. The hydroxide ion is the active ingredient in all hydroxide relaxers, which are very strong alkalis with a pH over 13. Sodium hydroxide, potassium hydroxide, lithium hydroxide, and guanidine hydroxide are all types of hydroxide relaxers, which can swell the hair up to twice its normal size. Hydroxide relaxers are not compatible with thio relaxers, permanent waving, or soft curl perms because they use a different chemistry. The high pH of a thio relaxer is needed to swell the hair, but it is the thio that breaks the disulfide bonds. Hydroxide relaxers have a pH so high that the alkalinity alone breaks the disulfide bonds. The average pH of the hair is 5. Many hydroxide relaxers have a pH over 13. Remember, each step of the pH scale represents a tenfold change in concentration. A pH of 13 is 100 million times more alkaline than a pH of 5. Hydroxide relaxers break disulfide bonds differently than in the reduction reaction of thio relaxers. In lanthionization, the relaxers remove sulfur atom from a disulfide bond and convert it into a lanthionine bond. A disulfide bond consists of two bonded sulfur atoms. Lanthionine bonds contain only one sulfur atom. The disulfide bonds that are broken by hydroxide relaxers are broken permanently and can never be reformed. That is why hair that has been treated with hydroxide relaxer is unfit for permanent waving and will not hold a curl. Metal hydroxide relaxers are ionic compounds formed by a metal, either sodium, potassium, or lithium, which is combined with oxygen and hydrogen. Metal hydroxide relaxers include sodium hydroxide, potassium hydroxide, and lithium hydroxide. The hydroxide ion is the active ingredient in all hydroxide relaxers. Sodium hydroxide relaxers are commonly called lye relaxers. Sodium hydroxide is the oldest and one of the most common types of chemical hair relaxer. Sodium hydroxide is also known as lye or caustic soda and can cause hair loss and skin burns if used incorrectly. Lithium hydroxide and potassium hydroxide relaxers are often advertised and sold as no mix, no lye relaxers. Although technically they are not lye, their chemistry is identical and there is very little difference in their performance. Guanidine hydroxide relaxers are also advertised and sold as no lye relaxers. The hydroxide ion is still an active ingredient. It requires two components which must be mixed. It straightens the hair completely. There's less scalp irritation than other hydroxide relaxers. These are recommended for sensitive scalps. They're sold over the counter and they do not reduce hair damage. They swell hair slightly more than other hydroxide relaxers and are also more drying to the hair. Low pH relaxers have ammonium sulfite and ammonium bisulfite, which is most commonly used. They are compatible with diode relaxers, but not compatible with hydroxide relaxers. They do not completely straighten extremely curly hair. Low pH relaxers are intended for use on color-treated hair. Hydroxide relaxers are usually sold in base and no base formulas. Also known as protective base cream, base cream is an oily cream used to protect the skin and scalp during hair relaxing. Base relaxers require the application of a protective base cream to the entire scalp prior to application of the relaxer. No base relaxers do not require the application of a protective base cream. They contain a protective base cream that is designed to melt at body temperature. As the relaxer is applied, body heat causes the protective base cream to melt and settle onto the scalp in a thin, oily protective coating. No base relaxers are an improvement only on the protection that is provided to the skin by the oils in all hydroxide relaxers. For added protection, protective base cream should always be applied to the entire scalp, hairline, and around the ears, even with no base relaxers. Now we're looking at a chart. This will help choose what relaxer is best for your client. You see that the active ingredient, sodium hydroxide, has a pH of 12.5 to 13.5. This is marketed as a lye relaxer. Your advantages are very effective for extremely curly hair. Your disadvantages may cause scalp irritation and damage the hair. Your lithium and potassium hydroxide relaxers have a pH of 12.5 to 13.5. These are a no mix, no lye relaxer. It's very effective for extremely curly hair, and it also may cause scalp irritation and damage the hair. Your guanidine hydroxide is 13 to 13.5 pH. This is a no lye relaxer. This causes less skin irritation than other hydroxide relaxers. Your disadvantage, with repeated use, this may dehydrate the hair. Your ammonium thioglycolate has a pH of 9.6 to 10. It's marketed as a thio-relaxer, no lye relaxer. It is compatible with soft curl permanents. Disadvantages are a strong, unpleasant ammonia smell. With repeated use, it may dehydrate the hair. Ammonium sulfite, ammonium bisulfite, has a pH of 6.5 to 8.5. This is a low pH relaxer, no lye relaxer. The advantages is less damage to the hair. The disadvantage does not sufficiently relax extremely curly hair. Relaxer strengths are categorized as mild, regular, and super. Mild are formulated for fine, color-treated, or damaged hair. Regular is intended for normal hair texture with a medium curl. Super is used for maximum strengthening or extremely curly, coarse hair. Use caution. Extreme danger may occur if thio and hydroxide relaxers are applied to the hair that has been colored with products containing metallic salts. Remember your metallic salt test, where we'll take strands of hair and place it in a mixture to see if the hair can withstand the relaxer. During the actual relaxer application, you're going to perform a periodic strand test. The processing time varies according to strength of the relaxer and hair type and condition. You may stretch the strand to determine if curls are removed, or you may smooth and press the strand to the scalp with the back of the comb, brush, or your finger. If the strand remains smooth, it is sufficiently relaxed. If the curl returns, continue to process. Hydroxide neutralization is an acid and alkaline neutralization that neutralizes or deactivates the alkaline residues left in the hair by a hydroxide relaxer and lowers the pH of the hair and scalp. Hydroxide relaxer neutralization does not involve oxidation or rebuilding disulfide bonds. Hair remains at a high pH and acid-balanced shampoo is used. Rinsing alone will not neutralize the relaxer. An acid-balanced shampoo or normalizing lotion neutralizes the remaining hydroxide ions. Although the same procedure is used for all hydroxide relaxers, application methods vary according to virgin and retouch applications. A virgin relaxer application should be used for hair that has not had previous chemical relaxer service. A retouch relaxer application should be used for hair that has previously received a chemical relaxer service. A texturizing service uses a hydroxide relaxer to reduce the curl pattern by degrees using a mild strength relaxer. Using base cream, protective cream, and normalizing products, most relaxers today recommend the application of a base cream to protect the entire scalp, irrespective of a virgin application or retouch. A normalizing or neutralizing shampoo is an acidic shampoo designed to restore the natural pH of hair and the scalp. Hydroxide relaxer and safety precautions. You want to perform a thorough hair analysis and client consultation prior to the service. Examine the scalp for abrasions. Do not proceed with the service if redness, swelling, or skin lesions are present. Keep accurate and detailed client records of the services performed and the results achieved. Have the client sign a release statement indicating that he or she understands the possible risks relating to the service. Do not apply a hydroxide relaxer on the hair that has been previously treated with a thio relaxer. Do not apply a thio relaxer or soft curl perm on hair that has been previously treated with a hydroxide relaxer. Do not chemically relax hair that has been treated with a metallic dye. Do not relax overly damaged hair. Suggest instead a series of reconstruction treatments. Do not shampoo the client prior to the application of the hydroxide relaxer. And the client's hair and scalp must be completely dry and free from perspiration prior to the application of a hydroxide relaxer. Apply a protective base cream to avoid scalp irritation. Wear gloves during the relaxer application. Protect the client's eyes. If any solution accidentally gets into the client's eyes, flush the eye immediately with cool water and refer the client to a doctor. Do not allow chemical relaxers to come in contact with the client's ears, scalp, or skin. Remember to perform periodic strand tests to see how fast the natural curls are being removed. Avoid scratching the scalp with your comb or fingertips. Do not allow the application of a relaxer retouch to overlap onto previously relaxed hair. Never use a strong relaxer on fine or damaged hair. It may cause breakage. Do not attempt to remove more than 80% of the natural curl. Thoroughly rinse the chemical relaxer from the hair. Failure to rinse properly can cause excessive skin irritation and hair breakage. Use a normalizing lotion to restore the hair and scalp to their normal acidic pH. Use a neutralizing shampoo with a color indicator to guarantee that the hair and scalp have been restored to their normal pH. Use a conditioner and a wide-tooth comb to eliminate excessive stretching when combing out tangles. Do not use hot irons or excessive heat on chemically relaxed hair. Now we're going to talk about keratin straightening treatments. Keratin-based straightening treatments, also called Brazilian keratin treatments or Brazilian blowouts, contain silicone, polymers, and formalin or similar ingredients which release formaldehyde gas when heated to high temperatures. A keratin straightening treatment works by fixing the keratin in place in a semi-permanent manner. They do not break bonds. Once the treatment is applied, the hair is blown dried and a flat iron set at 450 degrees Fahrenheit is used on narrow sections one by one to polymerize a coating on the hair. Each section is flat ironed several times, and the procedure takes about 2 hours or more for longer and very dense hair. It eliminates up to 95% of frizz and curl, and it lasts for 3 to 5 months. It is essential to conduct a detailed consultation before performing a keratin straightening service, so the client will understand what to expect from the service based upon condition of hair, chemical history, and degree of curl. Make sure you discuss the following: the client's recent history, including all chemical treatments that may still be on the hair and products used. Home care maintenance during the 3-day or 72-hour period after the service is performed. Usually, the hair may not be shampooed for 3 days. With most systems, the client should avoid getting any moisture into the hair for 72 hours. If the hair gets damp, blow dry immediately and go over lightly with a flat iron on a low setting. The client should wear his or her hair down and should not use pins, clips, ponytail holders, or sunglasses to hold the hair back. The hair must remain in a straight position for 72 hours to maintain its new straightness. Preconditioning is meant to equalize the porosity of the hair, taking it to a healthier level. From hair that is extremely over-processed, damaged, or over-curly, shampoo and deep condition prior to beginning the service. Clients may have permanent hair color or highlighting service before the keratin straightening treatment is applied. For those clients, be sure to use regular, mild shampoo during the hair color service. Follow the manufacturer directions regarding the use of a clarifying shampoo before the treatment product is applied. Do not use a clarifying product on a client that has 70% or more highlights. If the client wishes to have a demi-gloss treatment, it should be done at least 3 to 5 days after the keratin treatment to prevent color loss and to avoid wetting the newly straightened hair. However, since keratin straightening treatments do coat the hair, a strand test may show that the product you've chosen will not cover the existing cuticle coating to the desired degree. Curl reforming does not straighten the hair. It simply makes the existing curl larger and looser. A thioe-based chemical service that reformats curly and wavy hair into looser, larger curls and waves. Reformation occurs by wrapping the hair on rods. A soft curl permanent is akin to permanent waving. Often, this type of chemical service is referred to as a curl or curly perm. Soft curl permanents use ATG, ammonium thiglycolate, and oxidization neutralizers just as thiopermanent permanent waves do. Now we're going to go back over some precautions for hair relaxing and curl reforming. We can never get enough of the precautions. You want to make sure that you perform a thorough hair analysis and client consultation prior to the service. Examine the scalp for abrasions. Keep accurate and detailed client records of the service performed and the results achieved. Have the client sign a release statement indicating that he or she understands the possible risks related to the service. Do not apply a hydroxide relaxer on the hair that has been previously treated with a thio relaxer. Do not apply a thio relaxer or soft curl perm on hair that has been previously treated with a hydroxide relaxer. Do not chemically relax hair that has been treated with a metallic dye. Do not relax overly damaged hair. Do not shampoo the client prior to the application of a hydroxide relaxer. The client's hair and scalp must be completely dry and free from perspiration prior to the application of the hydroxide relaxer. Finishing up the precautions for hair relaxer and curl reforming, you're going to apply a protective base cream to avoid scalp irritation. Wear gloves during the relaxer application, as in all chemical services. If any solution accidentally gets into the client's eye, flush the eye immediately with cool water and refer the client to a doctor. Do not allow chemical relaxers to accidentally come in contact with the client's ears, scalp, or skin. Be sure to perform a periodic strand test during the service to monitor the pace of curl removal. Always avoid scratching the scalp with your comb or fingernails. When performing a hair relaxer service, be sure to not overlap onto previously relaxed hair. Apply to the new growth only. Thoroughly rinse the chemical relaxer from the hair, and always follow manufacturer's instructions closely when applying a chemical relaxer. Use a neutralizing shampoo to guarantee that the hair and scalp have been restored to their normal pH. This concludes Week 6 in Chapter 20, Chemical Texturizing Services.